And welcome to another edition of Bigfoots Pad Live. So today we have a special show today. We have one of our viewers that frequently comes on. He's a good friend of mine. We have David on the line right now. He is filling in for Nick for tonight. And of course, we got Tim on.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
Everybody,
Good, yourself?
Oh yeah. I was going to say, I know you guys kind of were talking a little bit before the show. We are going to try and get David on here periodically as one of our panel members here. We're still trying to work that out. So we'll probably figure that out here soon. So tonight's show, I've been kind of wanting to do this one for a while. It's going to be about UFO disclosure and the current state of ufology. The only thing I got to say is, oh man, we're in trouble. If this is really what we're going to... This is what we're coming down to. I was like, oh my God. In a sense, I guess we're in a good place with the government, where the government's kind of starting to loosen up a little bit. But as far as the private sector goes, we are screwed as far as like what the kind of people that we're dealing with here.
That's very true.
So, something I kind of want to mention real quick. We are going to talk about a couple of different things here. But before we get started, instead of a news segment, we're going to try something a little bit different. We are going to try and talk about a case. Instead of talking about news stories for about 15 or 20 minutes, we're going to talk about a specific case. And this case, of course, is from Las Vegas, where all three of us are currently living. I know David kind of travels around a little bit, but at the moment we're all in Las Vegas. So, how you guys have both heard about this 8-foot tall alien story that
definitely,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess what I want to do is I'm gonna play the news story. The 5-minute long news story from a local news station. And then what I'm thinking we're going to do is I'm going to stop it periodically and talk about it. How's that, Tim? Or do you think we should just read it?
Sounds good to me.
Because I do have some information about this that is nowhere on the internet. And I work with the police department at my job. So I do have some insider information on this, but we'll get into that in just a moment. But in the meantime, I'm going to share my screen, and then we are going to get started with this. And like I said, in about 15 or 20 minutes, we're going to get started with our topic for tonight. So I'm going to play this. Like I said, I'm going to stop periodically.
Yeah, that's okay.
It is the police call everybody will be talking about. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Janice Valdez.
I'm Brian Loftus. A family says something crashed into their backyard, prompting them to call 911, saying they saw creatures walking around.
Our 8 News Now investigators digging into this for weeks now. And tonight, our David Sharns with the video you will only see on 8 News Now. David?
Right, Denise. Sources telling the 8 News Now investigators that several agencies believe something landed or crashed. Whether it was non-humans or not, it certainly scared the people living on this property. Now, before we show you that video, listen to their call for help.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one beside it, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually we're terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Okay.
Well, the 80.
Okay, so I guess this is a good stopping point here.
Yeah.
So, what are your guys' initial thoughts on this? I was going to say, you want to go first, David?
Well, just like the reactions that they got were something else. You know, you don't expect people to actually like see an 8-foot person / figure thing, you know.
Yeah.
Not like
Yeah.
that. It's always been small or like, you know, regular size, not like 8 foot tall, 10 foot tall.
But like, do
Yeah.
you think that in Las Vegas, could this happen in someone's in a regular person's backyard in Vegas, and like other people wouldn't know about it or they wouldn't see it?
I think it's bound to happen eventually. Somebody's gonna catch something, especially now, you know, with
Mhm.
like
All the technology around us.
Yeah, more. It's available to get it more on film or camera, you know.
Very true.
What do you think, Tim? I mean, with the technology, you figure if you believe that they exist, they would have to be so technologically advanced that I guess they could technically appear, you would think, in a spot like that, like a specific spot.
Yeah.
But coming up, they do state exactly why they think it was on their property and why I guess the neighbors didn't see some kind of explosion or whatever. There is something that they recorded that sounds like an explosion. I don't know if you've heard that, Tim.
No, but I've seen the neighbors actually have a doorbell cam that where it lights up. Yeah.
So
I'm very inclined to believe this is real. I think their reaction's genuine.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna continue playing the video here for a minute, and then we'll stop it again once or twice before it ends. Because I do have some good stuff to share that I'm pretty sure our viewers would think was interesting.
News Now investigators obtaining video as officers then responded to the call you just heard. You'll see the officers also saw something in the sky that night, but the big question is, what was it, and is it all connected?
Leave her alone.
It's almost midnight on May 1st when a Las Vegas Metro Police officer's body cam catches this, something flashing low in the sky.
Look at that.
911 emergency.
Minutes later,
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
someone calls 911 reporting two large figures in their backyard.
No, I'm so nervous right now.
The 8 News Now investigators obtaining another officer's video as he's sent to the Northwest Valley home.
I have butterflies, bro. I've only thought shooting star. Then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
By now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard, or
they see like a big? That's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro blacked out that part of the video because it's considered private property. What's clear, they're taking this call seriously.
Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
That investigation turning up no concrete answers as of Wednesday. Whatever or whoever fell into that yard, long gone within minutes.
Oh, hey, if those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
They don't seem impaired in it.
All right. So what do you think, Tim? That's enough of it for now? That's
for now, yeah. We'll go back to it.
Yeah, so basically this family records that there's some kind of an alien in their backyard. This isn't like a normal house. They have quite a bit of land behind their house. There were some kind of marks left in the sand. I don't know if you and David saw that. If there's like
I sure did.
Yeah,
it's like a perfect round circle.
Yeah, they show like almost like a, I don't know if you call it like almost like a crop circle, but it's in the dirt.
In gravel, yeah.
Yeah, so I think the most compelling evidence is that object that they saw in the sky.
Me too. The fact that it happens and less than an hour later they get called to nearly right where that was falling.
You know, that light actually went right towards where you live. Actually, your side is almost exactly where you live.
Yeah, it's like literally 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah. So.
And like I said, I'm not sure about you, Jaro. I've been doing a lot of research on this too.
I was when I was at work the other day.
Yeah.
When I
did you know? Then just a fun fact is, did you know those people literally moved in that house that just sold in February?
I didn't know.
I'm not going to get specifics because I want to keep their stuff. But yeah, literally, they just moved in there in February.
You and David the address, I think.
Yeah, but could you imagine you move in there and 3 months later you're seeing this kind of stuff?
Yeah. So something I kind of want to mention to you guys. I haven't showed David this before. So before I share my screen real quick, let's start here. So at my job, I work for an official agency with the state or with the county, and we frequently deal with law enforcement, and we talk to law enforcement, and we have like different security clearances and things. Well, I asked a couple of the police officers that I see at my work all the time about this story. I asked them the day after it appeared on the news was the day that I asked them like what was going on. I guess they said that the 3 officers that responded to this were all placed on administrative leave when this story was put out on TV. And they put out an internal memo to all the police officers saying you're not supposed to talk about this incident, and that if you do, you could get in trouble. So I guess according to my 2 sources, they were saying that no one's really talking about it. Well, I guess they are, but just not out in the open.
Mainstream, yeah.
And I was given the address of the house, and of course, me being me, I had to drive by there. So so I had to drive by there. So I'm gonna pull up a quick screenshot of my screen real quick. I want to point something out to everybody. So everyone that's calling this bullshit, I don't think it is, and I'll explain why. So you can see this is Las Vegas. Henderson's over here. That neighborhood is right up here.
Yep.
Right on the edge of town.
Show them where I live, like on the cursor, like how just the close proximity.
Tim lives roughly in this part of town over here. Yeah, like right around here is where Tim lives. And right up here is where that light was seen and where the house is. I don't know if you knew about this, David. It's right over there.
Yeah. And it's funny because that way is the way that I shot my video.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen stuff at that part of town too.
Do not tell anyone where this is at.
No, we'll be paying it a visit.
Yeah, so
I don't want to harass them, but we will be driving by and paying them a visit.
Oh yeah. But so anyways,
you still have that one video up. You're gonna play the rest later.
Yeah, I'll play the rest in a second.
Okay, yeah, so, I was gonna say because there's a little more to it.
Yeah. So I just wrote you and David and Tim something. Yeah, so anyways, so the people were placed on administrative leave. You have the family supposedly saw this being in their backyard. Something else I would like to mention. I forgot. I got to share my screen for this. Hate to keep going back and forth like this. So I actually placed a public records request asking for the police report. And they said, your public records service request has been closed. There's no records indicated. So,
not true. And
that exact police report, portions of it are placed online already. And it's it's blurred out, of course, but parts of that same exact recording are online. So I'm like, why would it be? Do you have
it up or no?
No, I was going to look for it here while I was talking.
Yeah, I have an article I could find real quick.
Yeah, so they say that it doesn't exist, but it does exist. I know it does. I even asked them twice. I said, they told me, well, the video's out online, basically, is what one of my requests said. But I was like, but the, I'm trying to think of the word. I don't know if they're just lying or maybe they just don't want to give it away or what the deal is.
Or cover up. Sad to say, maybe it's a cover up.
True. It sounds crazy to think about an alien being
it really
in
does,
backyard in the middle of the city. It sounds kind of crazy.
But evidence and like all these things pieced together. Like I said, my coworkers and I were thinking about this earlier too.
Yeah.
There's actual physical evidence and stuff.
Do you think that's a normal reaction of how the police officers came?
Well, from what I was told, that from my police officers that I talked to, they were saying that even when they get called out to something like this, that they don't, it's not something that they're supposed to not talk about, or it's not something that's supposed to be like a secret, that it's like they could usually talk about it, I guess. I guess that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, so I guess they were saying that that's unusual for them to make them not talk about it and be kind of hush-hush about it.
Did you get my share request here?
Oh, yeah, now I did.
Yeah, dude, let me know when you see it. I found that police report, the one they claim does not exist.
Oh, yeah. You see it, David?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, that's the one they said didn't exist when I was asking for that.
Yep, but yet it's right there on the internet. Again, it's for their safety there, and it's not disclosing their personal information. But
sorry, I'm looking for something.
No, it's a very fascinating case. Like the fact, like the officers caught that on their body cam, and then they get called to that general direction.
Oh,
like
yeah.
less than an hour later.
Some people think that was a bolide, like that was a meteor. What do you guys think about that? To me, it kind of looks like it's zigzagging. It doesn't really look like
falling. Yeah, it's like that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, me too.
Because a meteorite would be like a straight. This one, yeah, it looks like it like when it's falling
shifts a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact too, and these people seem like there's other videos. They don't seem like they're lying. And then Metro said they've been following up on it for 4 weeks. Like when we get into it later, it said then they have no sign of it of being a hoax.
Yeah, I'm trying to see because that news story that I was just sharing that ends in just a minute, and they don't really talk about a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see if I get a picture of the circle in the sand to show the people that are.
I know there's very few pictures of it, but I found a couple earlier on Reddit and things.
Because what they were saying. The guy made a video afterwards. One of the witnesses.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah, did you see that, David? He said he was working on his truck.
Yeah.
But that video in itself, that's a conversation all in itself. I was thinking of trying to get a hold of the guy and see if I could get him on here, actually.
Yeah, because unlike the mainstream media, we don't have nothing to gain from it. All we want is just the story, and it's fascinating because we're from Vegas too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not like we're trying to make $1 off it.
Yeah, I
don't think these people are either. I really don't. Even the officers even say on the body cam video, they're like, I think you guys are being genuine. Oh, I think Jeremy went away for a second here.
No worries.
But no, it's just an absolute fascinating case because, like I said, a lot of people can say, "Oh, a UFO crashed in my yard," but they don't have any like pictures or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, my thing cut out there for a second. I don't know what it was doing. Yeah, so
running around.
What do you think about that? Do you think that you guys think that really happened? As crazy as it sounds, that there was an alien in their backyard. My thing is, if there were aliens in their backyard, how come there wasn't like some giant explosion when it crashed? Or
again, different technologies. Maybe they're so sophisticated they have some sort of crash landing gear, not a safety gear. Or if they're from a different dimension, maybe it literally just morphed into a different dimension. There's different theories on.
That's
what I thought was kind of cool was one of the police officers I talked to, they were saying that I guess within a couple of days of this happening, that there was some kind of black semis nearby or parked out in the front yard. And I guess they were saying it looked almost like a mobile command unit or trucks that were filled with some kind of equipment.
Yep, people with sunglasses and suits and government plates, I've heard on the video.
Yeah, that's really weird. Well,
even Nick thinks it's real too. I know at first he said he was skeptical, but now he thinks something truly happened too.
Well, right now, we are about 18 minutes into the show. We are going to take a quick break real quick, probably like a 1-minute break. And then we're going to get right back into our main topic for tonight. I'll be right back with you guys.
All right.
Okay.
And sorry, I had to go text Tim there for a second. So anyways, so we're going to get started with tonight's topic. We're going to get back into this next week. We're going to have a little bit of discussion because I want to hear what Nick's take is on this. So we'll probably play a few of the clips that you just saw. What do you think, Tim? Good enough?
Yeah, good? I think so.
All right. So now we are going to get started with tonight's topic. So, like I was saying, oh man, we're in trouble. So, my first thing for you guys are, where do you think we are on the UFO disclosure timeline? Like for you and David, like before we get started, do you think that the government is about to say that UFOs exist? Are they not going to tell us? If they are, when? If they're not going to, why not? What do you guys think before we get started on all this?
I think little by little there's going to be more releases of more things like this out there.
Exactly. That's what I think too. I think we're to the point in time where there's so many people that believe and there's so many people that still don't believe. But there's more believers now than ever, though, and we're this close, I think, to the government actually admitting there might be aliens or something. But again, they probably won't release specifics.
Well, some people sit on YouTube nonstop. Their shows are about UFO disclosure this, disclosure that. I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I think that they're more open to it than they have ever been.
Me too.
As far as talking, and that's good. That's a good thing. I do think that they're going to release it with next June or next July, I think. And we'll get into that in a little bit on why I think that. But I think they're going to say that we're not alone and that they think aliens exist. Do I think they're going to release the Roswell evidence, for instance? Or are they going to release UFO crash stories? No.
Definitely not.
I don't think they're going to do. Because they're going to have to, if they do that, they're going to have to admit that they've been lying for at least since 1947. Actually, before that even. But at the minimum, they're going to say since 1947 that they've been lying to the American people. This is a question I would kind of wanted to get Nick's reply to. I'll ask you guys, though. So who would be the one to make the official disclosure announcement? The president? DOD, someone else? Like, who would do that? Like, who would be in charge of that?
Good question. Maybe someone in NASA. They might have like a head of NASA, or maybe, like you said, the Space Force. That's a good question. I don't know.
What do you think, David? Who would be the one to do that? Like, realistically, and whoever that guy is going to get raked over the coals by the media, whoever that is.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea, to be honest with you, on that one.
Like, think about it. And is it even any of our business to announce that to the world? Because you figure if we announce that aliens are real and we have all this evidence, like, so what? That's forcing the rest of the world to have to come out with their evidence, or all these other places are going to have to admit they were lying to their people, or
that's a good point.
Yeah, so the rest of the world would have to follow suit, you would think, or unless they just
randomly one of the most. Yeah. Well, I know after the fall of the Soviet Union, actually, we found out some of the most UFO released files ever in the world. Like, there are a lot of their incidents they've had too. So I know before all this, I know randomly Russia was one of the most, supposedly one of the most honest about their UFO encounters.
I'm not a big George Knapp fanboy, but they said George Knapp went over there and came back with like a stack of papers like this
From
thick.
Russia?
Yeah, like of UFO
Huh.
sightings. And he actually interviewed a bunch of high-ranking officials in the military and everything when it collapsed.
Oh yeah, the Soviets had tons of
It
encounters.
was either right when it collapsed or right before it collapsed, but I think it was right before. But I was like, damn, that takes balls to sneak all that on the airplane and everything.
Yeah. Seriously though.
A lot of people give George Knapp a bad rap. I mean, I can't hit him too bad. Like, yeah, he does a good job, and I'm not his biggest fan because he tried to pull a fast one on me, at least a couple different times in the past. But
he does all right investigating for the most part. What's that I mean? Yeah, I have nothing bad to say.
So, and here's my other thing. So, all in all, is it up to the United States to do this? Is it any of our business, or is the world waiting for us to say it? You think, like, out of all the other countries in the world, are they waiting for us specifically to do?
It's possible, yeah. Maybe they're waiting for someone to take lead in this.
Because clearly, the United States is the one that's the main big boy in the park on this one.
Mm-hmm. Because randomly the UK too, kind of.
Us and the UK are the main ones you always hear. Us and Russia are kind of the main ones.
In Russia, yeah.
I'm assuming that there's other superpowers that gotta have these craft. I mean, they can't just crash in these three little places. I know Wales has them. Some places in Africa. I know China has some on UFO files.
Oh, and China, yeah. China's kind of secretive about theirs for the most part, but yeah, they acknowledge that they've had UFO sightings.
I'm sure whatever crashed in Wales ended up in UK, not UK.
Oh, I'm sure, 100%.
Yeah, but like I'm sure I know they crashed in Dusseldorf supposedly like a long time ago in like the early 1900s. There's now a news story out. I figured this will be an upcoming radio show for us. They were saying supposedly Mussolini got a hold of one in 1933.
I've heard of that.
And then
wasn't it a bell shape or something?
I don't know too much about it. I just found out about it the other day. But some people talk shit saying they don't think it's real. Other people say, F you, I believe this happened. I guess David, I don't know what his deal is. He'll probably
maybe it cut out or something.
Yeah, so in the meantime, here's another thing. So what good and bad things would happen if the announcement is made? I know we were kind of just talking about this because they would kind of turn the world upside down to some people. Like I know when War of the Worlds came out, people were jumping from buildings, and some people were robbing banks and killing the neighbors and stuff because they thought aliens were coming to destroy everyone. Like
that's very true. Oh, David said his thing cut out.
Let me write him back real quick.
But yeah, I just think the world is waiting for someone to take charge in this. But it can be a scary thing because we've heard theories too. Remember, like in the 90s and thing, they have a valid point that perhaps we do come forward acknowledging there's aliens and higher beings like that.
Oh, yeah.
It would undermine our entire existence. That means everything we've ever done and like every piece of technology we think is like the most high tech means nothing.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like,
so what you're thinking is if the government came forward and said UFOs exist, you say maybe nothing would happen at all. Like maybe no one would be robbing banks and stuff.
Maybe, but then at the same time too, then the government, you have to imagine, then they have to admit like, yeah, there's things higher than us. You know what I mean? That they don't have control.
I think that's the main thing. That'll send some people into pandemonium when they realize that these craft violate our airspace whenever the hell they want. We can't do nothing about it.
Exactly, and the government have to admit that they're not as powerful as they think they are.
Well, we were talking about it last week. I know this was in the 1950s, but in 1952 they were saying that these craft were frequently invading the airspace of Washington D.C. and they were chasing after them in what was it, the Starfire jets, and they couldn't catch them. And they were saying that it was ready to blow. The plane was going to crap out on them and blow up because they couldn't go any faster.
That's very true.
So here's my other thing. So if the government comes out and saying that we're not alone, they have to admit beyond a vague statement saying that we are alone, or else it's just going to be a big waste of time to the American public because the majority of people that I know of, they already figure that.
Yeah.
Let's see. So before I start getting into the specifics of specific organizations, I just have one or two more notes here.
Mhm.
So the U.S. Congress, NASA, the Office of the Secretary of Defense, the Office of Naval Intelligence, all created groups to research UFOs within the last 15 or 20 years. This would have been
Something's going
unheard
on.
of. This would have been completely unheard of any time before like the early 2000s. And why do you think they're opening up right now? And specifically, they're focusing on UFO crash retrievals within the last, within the last couple years. I don't know. What do you think of that, David? Did you catch that? Sorry, I didn't know if you were watching.
No, I didn't catch that.
Oh, I was telling Tim. So the government, we have here. Let me go back real quick. We have U.S. Congress, NASA, the Secretary of Defense, the Office of Naval Intelligence, all created UFO research groups within the last about 10 to 20 years. I was like, why are they suddenly opening up about this now? Why now all of a sudden?
The same reason like as before, I think, because now people can like pretty much record with their hands. It's more available to them. There's more proof out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. They
it's
can't.
easier.
Yeah, that's true. They can't cover it up as much.
I know they're focusing on UFO crash retrievals specifically within the last year or two since AARO existed, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But they're looking for government contractors and people that worked at these bases. I know Bob Lazar is a big ticket of. Well, we could have our own show on Bob Lazar another time, but I guess Bob Lazar, people are urging him to go to Congress and talk about what he experienced. Because some people think he's a hoax and other people think that he's legit. But I guess what they're wanting to do is they're saying if he's legit, he'll go to Congress. If he's not, then I guess they're saying he's a liar. And I don't think Bob has anything to prove to anyone, like realistically.
Me too. I know. I used to lean in that he was a believer. Then for a quick minute, I heard rumors that he was a fake. But overall, now, I mean, I'm very open. Maybe he is telling the truth.
I don't know. I kind of did what you did, where I go back and forth. At the moment, I know people like roast Jeremy Corbell for posting all the Bob Lazar stuff, but I kind of believe the guy, to be honest. Like, it sounds kind of wild and everything, but you got to imagine, Bob's story hasn't really changed a whole lot. And the whole pimp thing and all that, yeah, I get it. It doesn't look good that he was caught running an illegal brothel and he's a pimp and stuff, but the guy still could have worked at Area 51. I mean, you can still be a pimp and have worked there in the past, Do you keep up with the Bob Lazar story, David?
Yeah, I was gonna say just go to prom.
Yeah, he was like running some kind of pimp, like in his house or in a house somewhere in Vegas, something like that.
It doesn't mean the man didn't see his UFOs, though.
Right?
Yeah, I was talking to. He's probably using that UFO money to hire all these hookers and pimp them out, probably.
Probably.
But before we get too sidetracked, I was talking to the UFO bros on an interview I did quite a while back, and I was laughing. I like his impression. He said, say you walk into the brothel, you're in the waiting room. I like his impression. Bob Lazar comes out with element 115 in his hand and is like, would you like to see a capacitor? Would you like to see my wind tunnel?
Awesome.
He said he put it in a wind tunnel of some kind and it reacted a certain way. He's like, would you like to go in my wind tunnel while you wait?
That would be awesome. I would.
Yeah, so I'm going to get into a couple of specific groups here. I have kind of a lot to cover here. I don't even know if I could cover all this in one show. So the first group I want to talk about was the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or ATIP. ATIP ran from 2007 to 2012. This is kind of the first modern UFO project of the 2000s. This was in response to several reports of unidentified craft identified by the U.S. military. The program was closed in 2012 following the cessation of funding, so they cut their funding off, and the Navy and Intelligence Service continued its work. Luis Elizondo, he claimed that he was the ATIP program director. And the thing about Elizondo, some people claim he's a controversial figure. Some people like him. Some people hate him. Some say Luis Elizondo is a phony and never ran the program, or this program, I guess, didn't exist in the sense that he said that he was running it. Elizondo, this is awesome. This was like about a year ago. Elizondo was caught making fake Twitter accounts and like having a mass attack on his critics on Twitter. I guess if someone said they didn't like Luis Elizondo, Elizondo would sign on to like 5 different Twitter accounts, not acting like himself and like bum rushing the people that were talking bad about.
That's pretty awesome.
And this is actually, I mean, this is not the right thing to do, but this is kind of funny.
Right.
Elizondo was caught hoaxing UFO videos in his backyard in Wyoming like 6 months ago. I'm trying to know that. He was with another UFO investigator. I guess he lives on some ranch back by some mountain range. And he was taking pictures off into the distance of a drone that he had flying around, him and some other UFO investigator. And then I guess Elizondo was posting online that he was given the video by someone else, and it was actually him.
Jeez, that's sad. That loses legitimacy to real people like us.
It does. That makes him look real bad, though. That's why I think. You ever heard that David Elizondo was caught faking UFO videos recently?
Yeah. And what was the most recent one though?
That was the most recent controversy, and he quit doing interviews too because some people claim that he never ran ATIP, and some people say yeah he ran ATIP, but he gives himself more credit than he should. I don't really know what to believe on Elizondo. I've never really looked deep into it, but
sounds like he's a hoaxer. But
that's the only thing that I've heard, that he was not really like legit.
Yeah. Some people want to burn you at the stake if you say you like Elizondo. He had a huge following when he.
Did he freeze?
No, there it goes.
Oh yeah, looks like it froze for a minute there.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. So I'm going to continue on. So the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, or UAPTF, this is the program that followed ATIP. This is from 2017 to 2020. UAPTF, I don't know which, I just call it the full name, the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. It was a program within the Office of Naval Intelligence, and it was used to standardize the collection and reporting of sightings of UFOs. They talked about it in detail during a 2020 hearing at the United States Senate Select Committee of Intelligence. And
so it's real. So it's real.
And they issued a preliminary report called the Pentagon UFO Report in June of 2021. And these are kind of long quotes right here. It says substantial public attention had been given to the mandated June 25th report. It is fueled by statements by former high-level officials in the U.S. government, including President Barack Obama. And Obama's quoted from June 2021 when they were talking about this program. And he says there's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. So even Obama said that this program existed, and Obama was supporting this program, saying that it was a good program at the time. The report was supposed to give detailed analysis of unidentified aerial phenomenon data and intelligence that had been compiled by the Office of Naval Intelligence, the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, and the FBI. So it's had a couple different government agencies here. The report identified national security and pilot safety concerns related to UAPs. That's another thing. Elizondo is one of the first people that's referred to him as UAPs rather than UFOs. I'm kind of old school. I refuse to change.
Me too, yeah, UFOs.
Yeah, UAP to me sounds ridiculous, so I'm just used to saying UFOs. So I guess Senator Marco Rubio is the main one that's kind of pushing for this UFO stuff to come out. His exact quote, which doesn't sound very professional, but this is his quote. He says, "There's stuff flying in our airspace, and we don't know who it is, and it's not ours. So we should know who it is, especially if it's an adversary that's making a technological leap, which he's right.
Yep.
In July of 2022, it was announced that the UAPTF would be succeeded by an organization called AARO, or AARO. So I'm going to stop there for just a minute. So what do you and David think of that? Think of the ATIP and the Unidentified Phenomenon Task Force. I hate saying that long name.
Oh, I believe there's definitely something out there because they're interested in their national security too. You know what I mean? So they need to form.
In a way, it's kind of like the Robertson panel from when we were talking about that last week.
Yeah, last week.
Where Project Blue Book was running and they had a secret group spying on the secret group. Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
So basically, it wouldn't
secret society type shit.
Yeah. I actually wonder if the UAPTF, if that actually existed when ATIP was around. It probably did.
Wouldn't doubt it.
Because they're saying it succeeded ATIP, but it probably existed the whole entire time, and they just barely told the public. Because someone in the Senate opened their mouth when they were talking about it, apparently, is what it sounds like.
Definitely. I think there's agencies, and they have like branches too. It won't be just...
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's like a hierarchy.
Oh, for sure. I don't know, like, realistically, when you think about it, say ATIP was running, doing their thing, they're releasing all this information on UFO sightings and things that they have. Maybe ATIP, or maybe the Office of Naval Intelligence really is releasing the majority of their sightings. Like, maybe there's a group that's secret that collects all these reports that the Office of Naval Intelligence can't even get the reports from, you know? Like, not just like pictures of little lights in the sky, but like the good stuff, like Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
You guys think that could be a possibility, that there's some kind of, because they always say that they release everything they have and then they end up finding that they have thousands of reports.
Right.
But I'm like, but maybe there's another group that's taking the really good stuff and keeping it from them even.
Wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it either. So
this one is this is the modern times from 2020 to present, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, AARO. So I have quite a bit to talk about on this. AARO is an office within the United States Office of the Secretary of Defense. So now we jumped from, we went from DOD to the FBI, and now
President.
Office of Naval Intelligence and the President. Now we're jumping into the Secretary of Defense. It was founded in 2022. AARO's Executive Council, the director of AARO is named Sean Kirkpatrick, and this guy this poor man, he gets his ass chewed out online every single day. So he's basically, him and Senator Kirsten Gillibrand are the two main names you hear when you think of AARO. And these two, I can't imagine being Senator Gillibrand. They said she gets thousands of emails from UFO people talking crap and chewing her out every day, wanting the system to hurry up with these reports. Because I guess they're seen as either heroes or villains of ufology, and they get raked over the coals for that.
Yeah, there's no other one.
That's probably who would release that information if they put it out there.
I do think AARO, believe it or not, I'm one of the few people that thinks AARO is onto something, and we're going to get to that in just a second. So they have 6 different things that they said they're going to focus on when they came out. The first thing, they want surveillance, collection, and recording of UFO sightings. They want a system, capabilities, and design. They want intelligence operations and analysis. They want mitigation and defeat. They want to know who owns them. And then they want to see science and technology related to the craft. So basically just an all-around investigation is the way I look at it. The organization also aims to increase communication between the military and the intelligence committee over unidentified marine and aerial craft that could threaten the U.S. forces and U.S. military bases. So they're claiming they want to do this to protect our military forces. It says that legislation empowers the office to review records as far back as 1945 to determine if the federal government or contractor, that's another big one, or contractor UFO programs have the existence or know the existence of UFOs and shielded information from the White House or U.S. Congress. So, in short, basically, they're trying to clean house.
It sounds like it.
Because they got permission to go back to 1945, which is that's going back almost to this is going to the Aztec UFO crash at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that they said they could look at civilian military contractors. And why that's big, because I heard this, that when people asked the Senate in the past, like ATIP, to go look for these UFO programs, that they end up finding nothing, because when you put in a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act, what you're running into is the military they really don't have anything, because you got Lockheed Martin and you got these aerospace these companies have the
You okay?
Yeah, sorry, I'm choking. They're the ones that really have the UFO material for the most part. They're the ones that are doing the science experiments on it. So
that's true.
So they're saying, like, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, you got these aerospace, Bigelow. These are the places that are doing the tests on these, like Bob Lazar was saying, these private aerospace companies. So now that AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, they could actually go and they could tell Bigelow to shit or get off the pot. And if Bigelow wants to lie to them, they could cut off their funding altogether if they really wanted to.
Yeah. Puts them in a weird predicament.
So here's something interesting. The office and ODNI released an 11-page unclassified report on January 12th, 2022. So this is last year. It prompted by law and says that the ODNI must submit a report to Congress yearly. The report covered 247 new UFO sightings going back to March 2021. So that's only in about a year, roughly 9 months. They had 247 that they documented, as well as 119 events before that date that had not been previously examined. Yeah, so basically they get this report that came out. I guess AARO has to make reports every so often to Congress. They said out of 366 reports in their last report that they released, 171 were uncharacterized. So basically 170, they didn't know what the hell it was.
Right.
Input for the report was sought or supplied by various bodies, including NASA, the Federal Aviation Administration, the National, this one's interesting, the National Oceanographic, so underwater, and Atmospheric Administration, and the Department of Energy. And it says most of the reports were submitted by the U.S. Navy and U.S. Air Force. So it's not really civilian, and it's not civilian as much as military. So I looked up how often they're supposed to do their reporting. It says the next one is no later than June 13th, 2022 is when the next one's supposed to come out. But the next one's the one that I want to see, because since the last one came out, they're focusing on UFO crash retrievals. So the next one, they've been gathering up a bunch of whistleblowers, supposedly, that worked at Area 51 and these aerospace companies. They're supposed to AARO's going to release this report on whatever those people are saying.
Wasn't there a recent whistleblower too?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're going to play the video. We're going to discuss that in just a minute too.
Okay.
So this is one thing I was going to ask David. I'll ask you first. So does AARO sounds like it's the best program we've had so far as UFOs? It's not perfect, but I'm sure AARO's might hide stuff from the public. But Kirkpatrick's doing the best, it sounds like. So does the public even trust AARO and the government? Like, AARO seems more truthful than a lot of these government programs have, but no matter what they release, is the public even really going to trust them? Like,
good point.
So what do you think?
Not really until it's all like until it's all released, because when they're keeping stuff. I mean, I don't think you'll ever be able to trust the government until they actually release everything. It's either everything or there's no trust.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
For sure. Well, AARO still says that there's no proof, definitive proof that aliens exist, which I think is a strange thing, counting on you. You literally just said that you had 171 reports in 9 months alone that you don't know what it is.
Yeah, I know, I don't get that.
So I got a couple of quick things I want to mention before I have one that's pretty interesting and one that's utterly ridiculous before we get into the David Grusch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So under congressional UFO hearings, I put the House of Representatives Oversight Committee has held various hearings recently on UFOs. Will security agencies follow their lead, do you think? Or you think they kind of already have, like the DOD and Naval Intelligence and all those?
Yeah, I think they kind of took suit.
It's kind of like a big circle jerk merry-go-round when you think about it. It's like the DOD is going to make theirs. Then we're going to jump onto this agency and that one and that one and that one. Then we're eventually going to come back around to, okay, now DOD is releasing their next program, blah, blah, blah.
And then ultimately it resorts back to cover up.
I don't think like I said, they might admit that UFOs are real, but I don't think they're ever going to give us the good stuff that we all want.
Unfortunately, that's kind of my theory too.
Like, I don't think we're ever going to see a picture of a crashed UFO, whether it be the crash site or once they figured out how it works. I don't think we're ever going to see a picture of that.
Exactly.
Nor do I ever think they're going to tell us, like, yeah, we have a dozen UFOs just hanging out around the country. Yep. Just leave it at that. Like, because there's going to be so much more questions than answers, even if they admit this.
Very true.
And like I said, I'd hate to be the poor bastard that has to go on TV and announce that.
I know.
Like the guy who had to announce.
Right.
Well, they had the Roswell case closed stuff in the 1990s where I forgot the guy's name. The
what a joke.
Intelligence officer had to walk up with that report at the podium and announce Project Mogul. I'd hate to be that guy. Like, he didn't even believe that crap. Like, think about it. The guy and it announced the crash dummies that were launched from the planes years after Roswell happened and all that.
Yeah, that whole story was fun too.
Yeah. This one I think you guys are going to laugh at. So I had to bring this up. NASA is doing their own, they have the NASA UFO Study Task Force. It's made up of 16 individuals to study UFOs. Now, out of the 16 individuals, I haven't heard of any of these people. But it says that their study began October 24th of 2022. And over the course of 9 months, the independent study team will this is on their website. They will lay the groundwork for future study on the nature of UFOs for NASA and other organizations. So they're claiming they're the source to go to. To do this, the team will identify, this is where it gets a little asinine. The team will identify how data is gathered by civilian government entities, commercial data, and data from other sources that can be analyzed. So it says they will then recommend a roadmap for potential UFO data analysis. So they want to be the ones that everyone goes to. This is where it gets ridiculous. They're studying only unclassified data and unclassified UFO reports. So what the hell are they doing? They don't know anything more than you or me.
Armchair investigating again.
What the hell is that? You're basically you could do the same thing that we could do. Like, at that point, how are you the source? You're the source to go to, but you don't have any information on what Bigelow's doing.
That's ridiculous.
You have more information from the guy seeing the aliens in his backyard than you do from them.
Or Google.
Yeah. So they say that the full report containing the team's findings will be available mid-2023. So we'll see.
Yeah. That is ridiculous.
Like, I was just thinking about that. I'm like, holy shit. You're saying you're the ones that you want everyone to go to, but yet you don't even have your shit together because you don't even have access to anything that these government agencies or these government defense.
Yeah, you're just getting the secondhand information too.
Yeah. So there is no way in hell we could talk about this without mentioning the current state of ufology, without talking about David Grusch.
Mm-hmm.
So David Grusch, he is basically a high-level military member. He comes from the National Geospatial Intelligence Committee. He came forward the other day saying that the government has crashed UFOs and alien bodies in their possession.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, he spoke to Congress for 11 hours, I read today, under oath in a classified briefing before he even went to the public. So this guy actually has a lot to lose. Some people hate him, some people like him and rake him over the coals, like, the usual.
Mm-hmm.
Before I get started on this, what do you guys think about David Grusch?
Oh, Dave can go first.
No, just that he was a whistleblower. I think he was like an Air Force veteran.
Yeah, he was an Air Force intelligence guy.
Yeah, and
you think he's
saying
legit?
that they recovered some things too.
To me, I think he's legit.
I do too.
Oh yeah.
So,
and I know they said that his higher ups and absolutely everybody they reach out to says he's an outstanding guy and like really he wouldn't lie about that kind of stuff.
He's actually not even that old. He's only about 40.
I know.
Well, they were saying he basically blew the shit out of everyone he knew. They said he only mentioned actually at 9:00 tonight they're supposed to play the long version of what he said. 9 and 10 o'clock I think is when they're going to play it.
Cool.
But basically, David he said that he himself. This is what I think gives credibility to what he said. He said that he himself did not work on these programs. He has not seen pictures of the UFOs, but he said multiple people that he dealt with have seen the pictures, have worked in the programs, and he's basically name dropped all these people. He name dropped the name of the program, and he basically told everything. He basically, I don't know what you want to call him. He
dropped a bomb.
Dropped a bomb on everyone. He spoke for almost 11 hours, and Congress is calling it back for another hearing, they said. So, obviously, and he's under oaths. The House Oversight Committee wants him back, so he's on to something. So, real quick, I'm going to play, let's see how long we've been. We have 55 minutes into the show. I'll play probably, about 10 minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes of the interview, and then we'll get back onto some closing remarks a little bit later on. I just got a couple things that I really want to mention.
Yeah.
So let me see. So I want to see what you think of this. I'm going to play this for real quick.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to play a few minutes of this, like I said. Then we'll get on to something else. I just wanted to play this for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
From a military whistleblower, UFO whistle.
Do you know the U.S. solar company's nasty little secret?
Of course. The solar company's nasty little secrets.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
One has ever shared publicly before.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence officials in the U.S. defense and intelligence establishment.
Yes, I was.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
Grusch sitting down with award-winning investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who's reporting for News Nation and has spent years reporting on the UFO question.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval,
real quick, that's exactly what I was saying. That's the program that went after ATIP. Mm-hmm. And they were denied access to the documents, is what he's saying, just like I was saying.
Wow.
What do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft, if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No. I thought it was totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have plenty of current and former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me they were a part of a program They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof, that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
Grusch alleges the U.S. government has recovered non-human craft for decades. He's filed a whistleblower complaint saying he gave what he calls the classified proof to Congress and the intelligence community inspector general. News Nation has confirmed David Grusch's credentials and resume. We've not seen or verified the alleged proof he says he's provided to investigators. He says he can't show us the proof for national security reasons. He also tells us he's not seen photos of the alleged craft himself, but has talked extensively with other intelligence officials who have.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Okay, so that's good enough. You guys get the point. He goes on. So what do you and David think about that? I know you guys were saying you think that he's legit.
Mm-hmm. I think so. The fact that he could actually prove evidence and give that all to Congress proves he has his stuff in order.
I just wanted them to release the information already.
Well, exactly. Grusch, he appears to me. Some people they say he's an asshole because he didn't show the documents to the cameras. I'm like, why would he? What's he? He doesn't want to go to prison.
Yeah, for espionage and.
He can legally go to Congress. They claim there's some kind of whistleblower law they passed not too long ago.
There is, but he has. But then again, and he doesn't want to give his only trump card away. He has too.
I do want to watch the interview tonight. I know I'm trying to hopefully make the 9 o'clock or the 10 o'clock showing. It's on News Nation tonight. The East Coast has already seen it, but what do you call it? And some people get mad that it's an obscure. Kind of an obscure Republican news channel because they said that the Washington Post and Politico supposedly won't run the story because they can't get access to those documents. I just don't go shove it up your ass if I was Grusch, to be honest.
Well, I don't think he has anything to gain by it, like if he was looking to get something out of it, it'd be a different story,
True. And Grusch, I think what's kind of cool about it is Grusch himself isn't looking for fame and fortune.
Right.
He's saying, I didn't even do this myself. I just heard about it. Here, now go talk to this guy. He has a big billboard, talk to this guy.
Right.
So, yeah, and the thing is too, he's and again, now he's a young guy too. He has everything to lose.
Well, they said that you could lose your pension and you could basically lose everything by doing that. So he has more to lose than to gain from this.
Yeah,
that's very true.
I know Tim said he needed to go soon. So before Tim goes,
15 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So I got a list of things. This is kind of first I'll name the official source, and then I'll name the unofficial stuff. So there's something called To the Stars or To the Stars Academy. You guys ever heard of this?
No.
Tom DeLonge, the singer from Blink 182, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. He quit doing music for a while and started getting into UFOs. People are going to take him serious.
Wow.
And they said he even spent a bunch of money and bought what he thought was UFO material. But in 2017, he formed this organization. It's composed of an aerospace, science, and entertainment division. Listen how ridiculous this sounds. The entertainment leg of To the Stars, often referred to as To the Stars Media, they publish musical albums, books, TV shows, and films by the goddamn singer of Blink 182. We're gonna trust this guy, some kind of children's pop rock star guy, to give UFO information people are gonna believe. No wonder people don't believe in UFOs. Holy shit.
Yeah, seriously.
Then it said that To the Stars started releasing books, graphic novels, and children's picture books in 2015. And it
Wow.
says many of which were published by Simon and Schuster, the publishing company. This is the one that you guys would think is funny. He has something called the Science and Aerospace Division. The Science and Aerospace Divisions are devoted to the outer edges of science, such as investigating UFOs. Harold Putnoff described their goals as having imagined the 25th century in the current century. One of their potential projects is electromagnetic vehicles. They want to build an electromagnetic vehicle. Let me say that again. The fucking singer from Blink-182 is trying to build a UFO and publish books and documentaries on UFOs. Meanwhile,
That's so
he's
random.
thinking about picking up a groupie in the 1990s in his goddamn underwear on a music video the next page over on the internet. No one's going to believe that crap, even if he builds that.
I give him an A for effort, though. At least he thinks it's interesting, but this is just weird.
And then to get shit even more crazy, he had Luis Elizondo on the board for To the Stars at one point.
Are you
Luis
kidding?
Elizondo was even on the payroll for this shit.
Wow, that's random.
What do you think of that, David? Did you know that?
No, yeah, that was very random.
Yeah, Luis Elizondo's hanging out with the singer from Blink-182. That's even more bizarre. Maybe he was filming fake UFO videos with him behind his house, but who knows?
That's
But I
really
think,
out
too,
there.
I don't know if Tom DeLonge even does UFOs anymore. I know he did as of like 2 or 3 years ago. I know. I don't know. I something about I don't know. I was in that generation when Blink-182 came out that was listening to their music, and I can't get past like the fact I'm thinking some of their songs. I don't think of UFOs, and something about him wanting to build an electromagnetic vehicle.
Yeah, that's
after seeing him on TV as a child, I can't wrap my head around that.
There.
Not his character.
That would be like Benny Hill wanting to build a UFO or go to a crash site or something, like, you know.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah. So this is
that
kind
is
of
out there.
This is kind of my own testimony. This is for the last part of the show. So, like I said, as far as the government standpoint on UFO goes, I don't think we're doing all that bad. I mean, they're making progress. We're probably not going to know everything, but they're making progress. But the private sector, we're in trouble. I mean, like I said, I just named one of the guys that's coming forward to try and be one of the spokesmen for UFOs in the current times. We're in trouble, man. Like,
right.
Like, okay, so let's get into this. Look at the kind of people that are trying to take over the field. Like, we have tons of I call them social media ufologists and armchair investigators. The problem with ufology now is that nobody wants to leave their houses to do any kind of actual investigating. A lot of them, I call them social media researchers. They just kind of sit on their asses on their computers, and they just want to talk crap about whatever modern reports come out.
Mm-hmm.
Their critiques are usually pretty awful, and they don't do any kind of prior research, or whatever research comes out that they do is pretty terrible. I don't want to name any specific names. I've been on a couple of those shows on
yeah.
Facebook, not Facebook, on YouTube within the last couple months. So the old ufologists that they actually interviewed witnesses and did real investigating back in the 90s and before. You had Stanton Friedman, who actually found Roswell and launched this whole investigation.
Mm-hmm.
You have,
give everything to him.
I'm not a big Kevin Randall fan, but you got to give Kevin Randall like he found a lot of this Roswell stuff out that we know nowadays. Jim Mars, he did all kinds of amazing UFO investigating on the Aurora UFO crash. Roger Lear blew the lid off of alien implants. And you got like Frank Ficino. I could go on and on. So who's replacing him? Tom DeLonge from Blink-182.
Hey, but then again, I like some Blink nowadays.
I mean, the guy's music isn't all that bad, but you either
it's random
you're
though.
either music or your UFOs. You're not both. But like the old ufologists are dying off, and there's no one good to replace them. We got frauds like Nick Pope and Linda Moulton Howe to replace them. You figure Nick Pope claimed he was the English James Bond of UFOs. He said he ran the British Ministry of Defense's UFO program But then multiple people found out he was literally the receptionist for the program. He never ran shit. He was the receptionist. So basically, and he called himself the British James Bond. I was like, well, as a receptionist, that when someone calls in, he forwards them to the real guy that makes the decisions. Like, I guarantee you could go online and find 100 TV shows that say he ran that program. It's like now, it wasn't until recently that came out. You know?
Yep.
Hey, Music Monkey. Yeah, their music's not bad, but holy crap, I don't know if I looked to the guy for UFO evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for tuning into the show, by the way.
Thank you.
Here's the next thing I was gonna say. So I'm not just saying that because like we're kind of old school in a sense, because we did a great job on like the Ely UFO crash, and we go investigate like different things when people call us out. But like, you figure the UFO crash in Ely, Nevada that we did if you don't know what I'm talking about, we did like a really long segment on here where we broke it down for like 2 hours on one of our first shows that we did on this show. Yeah, you can see the link on our videos.
Yeah.
How many times we go to Ely, Tim? At least 10, 20 times, probably 20 times.
Probably 15, 20 times at least. We have good friends up there. We know a lot of the town.
We basically end up literally scoping out the whole entire town. That we talked to the sheriffs, we talked to people that worked at the mines, we talked to people that drove trains up there, we talked to prison workers, mine workers, museum workers, our own grandmother and her co-workers. Like, and Ely's like a 4-hour drive from here. So I was like, if we could do it, other people can. It just doesn't. Yeah. I'm not talking crap about everyone that's into UFOs. I don't want people to think that. I'm talking crap about people that claim they're UFO researchers and want to make these big claims online. Like, hardly any of them actually leave their house. What do you think, David?
No, that's absolutely true.
Like,
I mean,
one more thing I wanted to mention, like I started mentioning, I was on one of these shows recently. This is how ridiculous this gets. I was called a hoaxer when I was talking about we've been doing the Ely UFO crash for like, 15 years, literally?
It's been a while.
I mentioned Pete, the guy who saw the UFO originally crash in this copper mine. I mentioned that I found his employment records at one of the museums in town. I was told, how do you know those are real records? I said, well, they come from an official source. They come from the mine who, when they get to be a certain age, they give them to the museum. Then I was told, well, how do you know the museum didn't fake them? And I said, well, the museum wouldn't fake them because they're run by the county and they're official. And then they go, well, how do you know the county didn't fake them and then give them to the museum? Like how ridiculous. I was like, it reminded me of a little kid going, why? Why?
Yeah, seriously.
So we have something I was going to mention, Tim, in the chat room. They said the TTSA had an interesting premise of bridging the gap between the government and the UFO community by trying to incorporate real projects and fictional ones. But that screams PSYOP waiting to happen.
That's very true. I do too.
What do you think, David? I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
I think when it comes to you, well, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
But one thing I was getting at when I mentioned like they were calling me a hoaxer because I was asked why 10 times, and I got to a point where I couldn't answer the 15th why. But the shows that I go on, I notice a big difference when I go on like the old school shows, like people that have been doing it for a while versus the new generation. The new one, they sound like they're way overly skeptical. Like I was told that my own grandma was a hoaxer, even though the original people that saw the UFO that we talked to were my grandma's friends because she lived in the town. Right, Tim? They were saying that my grandma was a hoaxer.
Unbelievable. I know. A 70-year-old woman would lie about that.
Yeah. And even though we went up there and talked to all the people she mentioned. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, I don't really know the term for this. I call it the UFO carousel. The same guests get recycled over and over again.
That's very true.
You get Gary Nolan mentioned 100 times. You get Mick West criticizing everything. You got Linda Moulton Howe, who's in hot water all the time for faking things. I mean, holy crap! Like, I feel like,
That's
like
true.
I
You
said,
do.
the UFO,
Like on Ancient Alien, I like the show, but yeah, a lot of the guests are always recycled.
Yeah, and we gotta. Yeah, I agree. We don't make
Thank
any
you.
money off this. As far as our group goes, we don't make any money off this. We've never made a dime off of any of this.
We never plan on it either.
In our show, we're not doing the super chat shuffle begging for money or anything either. We're not doing that. So again, here's another quick thing I wanted to mention. So they recycle the same guests over and over, I feel like. And then when they say like, oh, we need a guest, or if you have an opinion on this, you should come forward. I'll say, okay, I want to come forward. They don't give me the time of day half the time, but yet you'll put Mick West for the 100th time on your show. Like, I don't understand what that's all about. Couple more quick things I wanted to mention. Have you ever gone on UFO Twitter, David or Tim? You ever type that in?
What?
Hashtag UFO Twitter.
No, I never have.
I've seen some of the most hateful, downright rude, backstabbing comments I've ever seen in my life on UFO Twitter. It's a shitstorm, like, for real. It's like, I feel like anything you post on there, you're going to get attacked. I feel like no real researcher would ever touch that with a 10-foot pole, I feel like. The only reason why you'd go on there is to either see what's been posted and dodge the landmines of all the people talking crap. like I went on a show talking about our Ely UFO crash. I'd say about 6 months ago. I was on a show, and the very next day there was people posting saying I worked for the government. There's people saying I was an SOB, that I was the brother of the host, even though I'd never met the host before that day. And there's people saying that my grandma
that's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's people saying I paid my own grandma to say that and stuff. It was ridiculous. UFO Twitter's a shitstorm.
I bet.
Oh, then
because of the territory, I think all the criticism like
it
that.
does. It does.
Yeah. And like you say, most of the people that are commenting, they don't take the time to research and actually go out there like you guys do.
That's it.
It's always what they get.
Unlike in the word of the famous Stanton Friedman, like you said, if you attack the person, if you can't attack the person, or what's the if you can't attack the facts, you attack the person.
Yeah, you can't attack the data. Try to tear the person's tear them down if you can't tear the story.
Yeah.
All right. So now that I kind of went on my rant talking crap about a lot of the shows that are on YouTube now, I'll probably get raked over the. I'm sure UFO Twitter will have me talking crap about me on there tonight.
Probably.
But
hey, it's all right. Whatever.
Yeah. So
they can kiss my ass.
I got a couple. I know we have about a couple minutes here left in the show. I have 3 questions I want to ask you guys. So once disclosure is made, if that ever does happen, then what? What comes next? Like,
I don't know. Then I guess the world has to come together because we all know we're not alone. And
is it like Ronald Reagan said, we prepare for a possible invasion if it ever happen, and we just kind of hold hands? Or
I mean, guess
what's going to happen to all these government organizations that focus on UFOs? They're just
they'll be out of a job, I guess.
Was that a laugh or what was that?
It was a cough. I'm choking too.
But like I said earlier, I wanted to repeat this. So like David Grusch said, and people have been saying this even before Grusch made his appearance, the government will probably never come forward with everything because they're going to have to admit that there was some kind of a disinformation campaign, and they're going to have to admit that they lied since at least the last 50, 60 years to the public. Actually, more than that, since 1947 at least. So like 80 years.
Is that all?
Yeah, only 80. So what do you guys think? I know we're going to end the show here in just a minute, but so final thoughts on that. Now that we kind of went through all that, we're going to have to definitely, I wrote June 2023, so we're going to have another current state of ufology
Yeah.
We'll wait a few months and then we'll do another one.
It will definitely be interesting to see how they actually go about it and do it. Like you said, whoever has to do it, man.
Oh yeah, like I said, I wouldn't
Exactly.
want to be the guy where they're like, "Hey Tim, go get up there and admit to the public that we've been lying to their faces about this for
Right.
80 years. Go get up there." And then the thing that would suck would be, since you're in the military and they're telling you to do it, you'd have to get up there and do it.
Exactly.
Well, they'll probably do like kind of like a quickie, newly released video shows that it actually does happen, and then they won't talk about it ever again.
Probably exactly. Or they'll probably give you the bare minimal.
Hey Tim.
Oh yeah.
Christy's mom was on and she was saying lots of interesting information. Yeah, thanks for
Thank
tuning
you.
in. I know
Thank
part of
you.
our show was kind of me going off talking crap about some of the experience I've had recently.
Oh yeah, but even then, like in the beginning of the show that we talked about the Vegas UFO thing, like I really want to see what becomes of that. Like myself, we're gonna do some investigating in that.
Yeah, like I said, I from the police officers I've spoken to at my work, something happened. Whether it was a UFO or not, I don't know, but it's kind of leaning that way.
Yeah.
David brought up an interesting question. David was saying, maybe, do you think that they could have recovered some kind of craft? Would they just kind of hit it? Maybe it just wasn't like a large craft or something? Because my police officers I talked to did say that there was a couple of big semis outside the next day doing tests.
Yep, and even in the video, like if you would have continued that one video, the people that live there said they've noticed cars driving by with government plates and suits and sunglasses. Sure. Yep.
And then when the police officers went in the backyard, they turned off their body cams, but because they were saying it was private property. But if they're letting them in, isn't that like consent? So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good point.
Well, what we're going to do, we're going to do one better. So I'm trying to contact the family, see if we could get them on this show pretty soon. And I'm going to try to get I have ways of contacting those police officers that are on administrative leave. And if I could get them and the people that live in that house on the show, that'd be pretty cool.
I think so.
Even if they didn't want to talk on the show, if I could get them to talk in private and we bring all of us out there, that'd be pretty cool. Like I said, we're going to try to get David back on the show. I'm going to see if we could work out something for next week. I know we have Grant Cameron coming on the show next week. He's going to be speaking about a book he wrote about Jimmy Carter and UFOs, which I don't know much about Jimmy Carter and UFOs, but according to him, this book it's selling like hotcakes on Amazon. So there's got to be something to it. I'm going to check out his book during the week.
Cool.
Let's see. Real quick, one last comment before we end the show. So it says from Elaine Rodriguez, she says they'll probably run something like a church committee and just like the nonchalantly dropped MK Ultra on us and said, oopsie,
right.
The alien cover-up.
Very good point. I love it.
And then one more thing, Tim.
There's
Music Monkey 101 says, I've known about you guys for about a decade now, and I'm happy to see you guys doing a live stream like this. Yeah, thanks for checking us out. Yeah. Our show started, we used to do an old audio-only show, and we kind of started doing the video thing about 2 or 3 months ago. So we're still building an audience. We get a lot of views afterwards, but what's weird, though, is our views on Twitter and Facebook don't move over to the YouTube count, which I don't know how that works. If anyone knows how, you could let me know and I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and then we got to get back on the actual physical investigations again too.
Oh yeah. So I'm thinking we're gonna do our show next week, and like I said, we're gonna have Grant Cameron on. We're gonna try to get out again. We're gonna try to get David to start coming out with us too. I want him to come out at least once or twice.
We'd love to have him.
We'll do.
So
David, see a bunch of crazy shit together, bro.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're prepared to see some crazy shit. But yeah, so we're gonna try to get David on next week if possible. I'll write you after the show, David. For everybody else, again, one thing I wanted to mention is Bigfoots Pad Live is a viewer-supported show. So if you like what you see, share our show, click that like button, subscribe, whatever, all that good stuff. It'll help the show grow. And of course, it'll show us that you appreciate what we do. We're going to cover more of the Las Vegas UFO 8-foot tall alien story here as new details come out. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'd like to
Thank
once again, thank the audience. I'd like to thank my co-hosts. In about 5 minutes, that David Grusch thing's coming on. I want to check that out.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Have a good one.